The SA Federation of Trade Unions General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi joins us in studio. Thanks for your time, sir. Appreciate it again. These unions are meeting. How are you involved as SAFTU?
Well, there are three, in fact. Add solidarity in that list. They are meeting to explore how they can work together at this moment in their common rejection of the insult that have been thrown to them by Eskom management and the board that says basically workers must now pay for all of the mess that workers did not create, the crisis that was engineered by Eskom corrupt management, working in cahoots with the corrupt government and the Guptas. And workers want to send out an unequivocal message that they will not agree that they must pay through their jobs, and management is saying, if you look at their own reports, they want to throw into the streets 10,000 employees of Eskom. And in addition to that, they offering a 0% increase, which will mean that workers in Eskom must take a serious cut in their living standards. And SAFTU is in full support of the unions coordinating a response, the NUM and NUMSA, which is our affiliate, and Solidarity. And we hope that the meeting today will emerge with a program of action that will unite workers on the ground against what is clearly a common enemy. And that's where we are in relation to the Eskom. We are absolutely willing to take this one all the steps of the way to ensure that the Eskom does not escape with what they want to escape. They can't be part of the mess, and suddenly they are not taking any pain, and that only workers must take the pain. No, we reject that.
So I know that the unions were asking for 15% wage increase, and I spoke to them last week and said that's a bit high given that inflation is 4.5%. So do you think if they adjust their demands, you might see Eskom say, okay, we can meet you at some point?
No, the Eskom have been negotiating with unions all of its life. They have put this 0% from day one up to day last in terms of the negotiations. They won't move. They have an inflexible mandate. They keep on going back and forward to say we only have a 10% mandate and we're not willing to negotiate. I'm sorry, not 10%, 0% mandate, and we are not willing to negotiate. There have been no negotiations, and that's why the unions have come to the conclusion that perhaps Eskom can be accused without any fear of a contradiction that they have refused to negotiate this time. They are not negotiating. They just say, we have a mandate of 0%, and we're going back, we come back, we have a 0% mandate. Sorry, we not. So there's not even an attempt to say to the unions, if you were to come down from 15%, we will do this and this. No, nothing of that kind. Secondly, the unions are correct in pricing the standards of living or increase of their members at 15%. Look at what have happened in the economy this year. Just last week, we took a serious beating from a 82 cents a litre for petrol, 85% for diesel, R1.09 cent for a litre of paraffin, and 113 rands for 113 rands indeed for gas. And that's going to mean immediately there will be an increase of prices of transport. Taxi fares are going to go up. Everything that is transported through trucks will go up automatically. We have no doubt about that. Secondly, in April, the government, in response to the crisis again created by them and not by workers, increased the rate of VAT by 7% from 14 to 15%. They introduced a new sugar tax. They are increasing the fuel levy, meaning that every time there is an increase in the petrol price, there is a 30% that goes to the fuel levy, including now with this latest round, 30% of that goes to some fuel levies. There's a 6 to 10% increases in the so-called sin taxes. Now, workers spend up to 60% of their meager wages on transport and food. and the remainder of the 40% goes to cell phones and other education, health, and all of that. But if you hit us with transport and you hit us with increased inflation of food prices, we're already talking about an inflation rate of between 11 to 15%. So the demand for a 15% increase is not unreasonable in the context of the crisis that workers are facing on the ground.
Now, this is the new Eskom board saying we're trying to fix the mess at the parastatal. Give us a chance so that we can do it. What do you say to that argument?
Then don't try to fix it at the back of workers. Don't make workers the prime person who must carry a burden that was not created by them. Workers marched. NUMSA called a strike in 2014 in response to the news that looting was going like a madness in Eskom. Billions were being lost. Hundreds of millions of prepayment was being done to favor Gupta companies. And we have to secondly go to court ourselves last year to force Eskom to take action against Trillion and Mackenzie. And now all of a sudden they have found a reason to follow a 1.6 billion rands that was looted with their cooperation. They're not telling us what steps are they taking. They are not telling us how many people have been jailed for cooperating with the Gupta Zuma agenda. They're doing absolutely nothing. But they're now saying take a 0%, accept that 10,000 of you must go to the streets and join the long queues of unemployment. We are refusing. There's going to be blood on the floor. We're going to take them to the last ounce of our blood in resisting any attempt to retrench workers or to impose a 0% increase and therefore make workers to pay for all of the mistakes, if there were mistakes that were committed in Eskom. No, we can't agree to that.
All right, so there are 3 unions involved. Tell us how many members are part of those unions and how this strike will affect the country.
Eskom employs about 47,000 workers now. Those unions will represent anything above 30,000 of those 47 workers. I know that Eskom will rely on the fact that they want to declare every of those workers as essential service. We're going to redefine the meaning of essential services in line with the ILO convention. What we can't do is to play the game according to the rules that are drawn up by Eskom when it is on a rampage against workers. We're going to see a strike in Eskom, and they will have to bear the consequences of the strike.
Well, the country will have to bear the consequences.
No, it is Eskom and government that is wanting to resolve the crisis they created at the back of workers. So they will have to take the responsibility for that, not workers.
All right, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. That was SA Federation of Trade Unions General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi.